Hey plant people, today is a really beautiful sunny day, so I thought it would be the perfect day to do my entire Hoya collection video. I have got, if I counted correctly, 45 different species of Hoyas. If you include the ones that are propagating in water right now that I had to cut up because of root rot, which is like 3 kinds that I have. But I've got a good bit that I've accumulated over like the last, probably in total like a year-ish. If you saw some of my previous videos, like I was not really into Hoyas to begin with because I thought they were just kind of like a funky plant. And I was mostly into Alocasia, Philodendron, Monstera when it comes to tropical houseplants. But one day I saw a really beautiful Hoya in Home Depot and it just kind of changed things for me. And now I really love Hoyas. And it seems like when I take all of these out and I lay them out, it seems like so many, but there are just so many species of Hoya. Like it just feels like it's nothing, you know, like I feel like I don't have any Hoyas at all because there's so many to choose from. And I think that's part of the danger in becoming interested in collecting Hoyas is that there's just so many species. Like there's always, well, I guess that's just plants in general. Like there's always a new one that you want, but especially with Hoyas, I don't know what it is. Somebody said it was like a subcategory of plant collecting. And it really is. It's like this whole other addiction for Hoyas. And I guess like I don't see them very commonly like out in Home Depot. Like where I live, we've got Home Depot, we've got Lowe's, we've got Walmart, and that's pretty much the only selection of places you have. We don't have any like real good nurseries for tropical house plants. We've got a couple for just like outdoor type plants that are pretty good, but they just don't have a good selection of indoor plants. So it's not really common to come across Hoyas in those places. But when you do, you can get a really good deal on a really big one, which are a couple of the ones that I'm going to show you. But we're just going to get straight into it and start this off because I'm, not trying to make this video like a million hours long. And just as a disclaimer, like I'm clearly not an expert. I'm just a lady that likes to collect plants. So I'll probably pronounce some of these wrong, but I'll always leave in the description a list of all of the plants that I'm talking about in these videos so that you can go, if it's something that you really like, you can look it up, We'll start with my cuttings that I have propagating. There are a few of my Hoya that have had a root rot in the last little while, and a few of them that came with root rot that I did not notice until later on. The thing that really gave it away to me was like they seemed healthy, but like for example, my new Guinea Ghost, it seemed healthy and it seemed fine, but the leaves were just always wrinkly. Like it always seemed like it was dehydrated, and it definitely wasn't dehydrated because I was like, okay, I guess you need more water. And that probably didn't help, but yeah, and it was growing, like it was fine, but all the leaves were just floppy and wrinkly, like it needed water. And this is my new Guinea Ghost right now. And this is one of my all-time favorite Hoyas. It is just so beautiful, that like mint color, especially when it gets bigger. And it was originally like when it first came and it wasn't quite as wrinkly, I just really fell in love with this. I can't tell if this is focusing or not. Oh, and I'm spilling water everywhere. But yeah, it got all wrinkly and it just wasn't, it was growing, but the leaves are just wrinkly all the time. So I pulled it up and you can tell that there's root rot when you like pull on the roots, and it's kind of like that outer sheath just slides straight off, and that is definitely what it had. So I just cut it up into leaves with nodes, and I have a top cut here that's doing okay. And it is rooting. Hoyas root really quickly, which is something that kind of surprised me, but this has only been in there for like a week maybe, and you can see that. little roots sticking up in there. All of these are kind of like that. The next one that had a root rot was my Hoya Latifolia, Albomarginata, or Macrophylla. And this is a more common Hoya, but this is also one of my favorites. Like, I just love the shape of the leaves and the variegation on it's really pretty. And I like that it has these kind of like rosy, kind of like a pinkish red kind of borders on the leaves themselves. And the leaves, when they get really big, are really pretty. So you can see, and it's got kind of like that veining and everything, but like this leaf in particular with the that variegation is just so pretty. And you can see the veining a little bit more on those. But yeah, so this one's pretty inexpensive, pretty common, but it's just a really beautiful plant. It's a really large, you can see how large those leaves are in comparison to my hand. Wow. Yep, so that one, no, I don't think this one has any roots yet. I've just cut that one up, but the new Guinea Ghost is starting to root a little bit, thankfully. And then this one's kind of like a combo deal that I have going on. This has got some of my Callistophylla, I think that's what this is. Yeah, Callistophylla, and some of, which this, I think this one's dying because that leaf looks like terrible. I really don't, that one's definitely not gonna make it. But the other ones look pretty good, and they are starting to root as well. But we got Callistophylla, Sigillatis Splash, which is that one in the front. This one right here. That one's really floppy and kind of funky, but it is rooting, so we'll see. And then this is just a cutting. I forget this one's name. I'll tell you that one later because I have a full plant of this that I cut these off of. So that's kind of like my combo rooting thing. The Sigillatis Splash completely died off with root rot, so these are the last living cuttings that I have on that. But I do have a living Callistophylla and this other one that's in here as well. This is the Callistophylla that, that's how you say it, yeah, Callistophylla that I got the cuttings off of. And I think this one's like mottled veining or something. And I love that really dark. I really like this one because of the veining is kind of like a little bit more muddy. But just the contrast between those really like lime green leaves and that black veining is just really striking. And this one seems to be fine, at least this part of the plant. The other part of the plant was doing that thing where it was like not absorbing water, so the leaves were really wrinkly and like soft. But this other part seems fine, so I'm just gonna leave this alone for now. It is growing, and the leaves feel okay. So I think this one's okay. But yes, that is Hoya Callistophylla, and I believe this is like mottled veining or something. It's Callistophylla mottled veins. I'm gonna do these two really big ones together. So these are the Hoya Crimson Princess, which is this one right here with the interior variegation, and then the Crimson Queen with the outer variegation on the leaves. And I found both of these. I found this one at Home Depot for less than $20 and this one at Lowe's for less than $20. So these were both like really amazing finds, and I'm really excited that I did find. And they are both pretty common, but it's just difficult to find a Hoya this large for a reasonable price, and kind of like regardless of what the species is, especially if you're having it like shipped to you or something, because these are like really heavy to ship. But the one that I got first was this one, which is the Hoya Crimson Princess. And this was the original Hoya that I saw in Home Depot that I was like, you know what? I think I do like Hoyas. Like, this is the one that kind of changed things for me. And she's just so beautiful. Like, the variegation in those leaves I can't help but this being one of my favorites, especially because if you can see, this is a really good option. You know, another thing that I like about Hoyas is that if they put out these strands with all white leaves, you know, any other plant, if you have a variegated plant and it puts out a bunch of all white leaves, it's just gonna die off because there's no chlorophyll in those leaves. But Hoyas actually hold on to them for a really long time, so you get to enjoy the kind of like white leaf look, which is obviously really beautiful. But this one, like the white leaves with the pink stem, oh my gosh. Like that is just awesome. You can see how pink that stem is if I can get you to focus. Sorry y'all, I'm still trying to get used to this camera. So I love this branch right here that's kind of doing this like all white thing. And then she's kind of climbing this way, but I also have her hanging. So she goes downwards and she's climbing upwards too. You know, I just kind of let her do her own thing. And then these are really pretty too. Like there's this one right here that's the half moon. And just that variegation. So pretty. So yeah, I saw this in Home Depot and I was like, it just changed my whole outlook on Hoyas. And now I got 45 species. So that is her. And then Crimson Queen, which is this one. And you can see this one is green in the middle and white on that outer ring. And that's how you know it's the Crimson Queen, because the Crimson Queen wears the crown is the saying that I heard that helped me remember to begin with. But this one has some really nice variegation on some of these too, like these down here. And this strand over here has some really nice variegation too. The stem is not nearly as pink on this one as it is the Crimson Princess, but you certainly do get some of that, a little bit of pink. So yeah, these are both really accessible, really easy to take care of. They grow really quickly. So I would say these are both like really good starter Hoyas if you want to get a Hoya that's going to be a little more difficult to, you know, get rid of unintentionally. And they're just easygoing and they are really beautiful, and you can often find these. I would say like if you found a Hoya at Home Depot or Lowe's or something, it's probably going to be, or I've seen them at Walmart too. It's probably going to be either a Crimson Princess or a Crimson Queen. Like those are I would say the most common that I've seen, and I go pretty frequently just to like check plants out and stuff. But yeah, so got both of these for less than 20 bucks, and you can see how giant they are now. All right, this one is a Hoya, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, Burtoniae. And this is another pretty common one. This comes in a variegated version as well, which is just like really pretty. It's kind of like, it'll sunstress kind of like a pinkish, like a darker pink color. And these leaves are very matte. They're like a matte finish. They're not shiny at all. And they're really soft. They're like almost a little bit fuzzy. So that kind of like matte, pinkish variegation when they get enough sun, gorgeous. But this is another one that I found I think I found this one at Lowe's, and this one was like $10. But again, it was like in this like hanging planter, and it was a larger plant, and I didn't have this one, so I was like, you know, $10, like why not? That's always what gets you. You're like, $10, why not? But yeah, so she does look like a little bit rough. She's definitely got like some scoops. So she's definitely got like some scarring and stuff on some of these leaves. But I just really like the way that matte veining looks. And I actually really like just the plain green of this one. Like I think it's like a nice look to kind of like mix up the variegated ones with just like some plain green ones. And she seems to be growing pretty well still. It's almost like the leaves are like kind of like a little bit lighter in the middle than the edges. And you can see a little bit of that veining in the middle. these two, I believe these are both Pubicalyx. This one I found in a CVS, and it obviously didn't have like a tag or anything on it. I think this part's dying. It looks okay though. But I believe, to me, these look really similar. Like, I know this is a Pubicalyx purple, Royal Hawaiian purple splash. Let me see. Royal, yeah, Pubicalyx Royal Hawaiian purple splash is what this one is. And this one, the leaves look very similar to me. So I do think this is just like the standard Pubicalyx, which is another pretty common Hoya, but very pretty. It has like a really nice splash, and the elongated leaves, the kind of like sharp elongated leaves, are really pretty. And then this one, I love this one. This is one that I got when I went to, what is that called? Pike's nursery in Sewanee with my boyfriend and his family. And I love the stems on this one. Like, it has a really, really dark kind of purpley stems. And the flowers on this one are purple also. But you can see, so the leaves look very similar to the other one. So I think the other one is a Pubicalyx. But, like, for example, this is a newer leaf, and you can see how dark purple that is, and how dark these stems are. So they're like this really, really, really dark purpley color, purpley brown. And it just looks so cool with those like long, elongated, splashy leaves. So yeah, I love this one. I can't wait for this one to bloom because the blooms on this one are really beautiful. Next one, this is a Hoya Wayetii Tricolor. And I think this one's doing okay. I got it. This one I got, and most of these I either got from like Lowe's or Home Depot or Etsy. This one I got, I think, from Home Depot for like $5 or something. And it's got, I like how long the leaves are. And I think this one's doing okay. I can't really tell totally because when I got it, like, it was like not in the best condition anyways. But it is putting out a lot of new leaves, which I take as a sign that it is doing okay. And I've got it right in the window, so it does have a lot of pink right now. And Hoyas are just so fun because of the way that they sun stress. So you can see how long these leaves are. And that variegation in the middle, it's like a white variegation, but when it's exposed to that really bright light, it can go this kind of pink color. And this is another fairly common one. So yeah, she's so cute. And then I've got this one I did on one of my unboxing videos. This is a Hoya Mirabilis. And this one again has really cool elongated leaves. This one, I don't know what it is, if it's just like dirty, like I cannot get the dirt off of it. Its leaves just look really dirty from where I got it. But it seems to be doing okay. I have it in the same window as the Wayetii and one of my other Hoyas that I'm about to show you. But her leaves are really, really dark. So I love these. They're dark. They're kind of like that matte, dark matte color. And these leaves up here, like, you see how it just looks like dirty? I don't know. I've washed these leaves a million times and it just won't come off, so I don't really know. But it is growing quite a bit. Like, here at the bottom, these are all new. And these look pretty good over here on this side. So yeah, Hoya Mirabilis. If you like really long-leaved dark Hoya, this one's cool. And then the other one that I have hanging in that same window is my Caudata Sumatra. And this one, this is like kind of one of those Hoyas that's like a little bit ugly. It's like cute ugly. And its leaves are so rigid. Like, obviously Hoyas, a lot of Hoyas do have those kind of like rigid leaves, but this one is like so rigid. Like, I cannot bend it, even if I wanted to. It feels like it would just snap in half. But it's really cool. It's kind of like crusty, like a little crusty looking. It's got these like wavy leaves that are really dark and matte and like a little fuzzy. But the splash is just so cool. And when they sunstress this kind of like rusty brown color. And this is like, to me, I just feel like this is kind of like one of those you love it or hate it type Hoyas. Like, she looks a little crusty, but she's cute to me. And then down here, you can kind of see how it's like sunstressing that kind of like rusty color. And kind of like right there though, you can see it a little bit. Yeah, I love her. I think she's really pretty, and that splash is just really cool in contrast with those dark matte leaves. This one, this is one I feel like of the more uncommon Hoyas that I have. This is the Hoya, I didn't label this one. The Hoya Dennisii Frida. And this one I ordered, and when it came in, it was like kind of like moldy, and like the leaf was totally yellow, and it was like the stem was totally yellow. And the seller that I bought it from is like a really reputable seller on Etsy. So I reached out to him, and she sent a replacement. But then the one that I thought was dead, like, I just didn't get around to throwing it away. I just left it in the cabinet, and it put out 3 new leaves. So I don't know, because it was like literally, it was moldy. So I don't know what changed for her. Are you focusing? I cannot tell. But yeah, this one is just so beautiful. It's got, it's very delicate looking to me. And it's got this really pretty variegation in the middle, this kind of like greenish, like multi-tone green variegation. And then that was the replacement. So you can kind of see a little bit of what those leaves look like. Even though this one's a little bit dark, and that one does have one little baby leaf on it. Oh, it's got maybe more than one. It's got a couple more coming out. Come on, camera. There we go. Anyway. Yeah, so this one, these leaves don't really look like they have much variegation on them yet, but they are still small. So we'll see if that kind of develops. But they come out kind of like a pinkish color too. So they do have like a little bit of a tone of pink to them. Why will this not focus? Okay, hopefully that's focused. It looks focused. Yeah, a little bit of a pink tone on those new leaves. This one is Hoya Finlaysonii ripple leaves. And Finlaysonii is one that I see pretty commonly, but it has like some different, like a lot of times Hoya will have a little bit of a different, it's not a different species, I guess, but a different version where the leaf shape is like a little bit different, or it, you know, the leaves are like more rippled or more rounded or shorter or longer. And this is one of the ones with longer leaves that is kind of rippled. So you can see the edges on this one, how it's really kind of like jagged and ripply. And again, pretty large leaves. These are dark veining with a little bit of a splash. And this one's pretty large. This is like one of my larger ones that's not hanging. But yeah, I just really like these like really strongly veined Hoya. Like you get a lot of cool veining with those. And this one, I thought one wasn't doing anything, but we do have some new growth. It was just like, it had a little bit of sneaky growth here, like in the middle of this part. I was looking at it from like the top. That's another thing about Hoya, they just kind of like start growing from everywhere. Or like from places that you don't really expect it. Like right there in the middle. We've got a new leaf coming in. Right here. So yeah, Finlaysonii, and this one is the longer ripple leaves. This one is my Hoya Latifolia Sarawak, and this one's the cream. And like I had said before, I was really confused between like the cream and the pink, and it was the color of the flowers, and I wasn't thinking that. I was like, they look exactly the same. So yeah, this one is the cream with the cream colored flowers, and this one is known for having like the really big leaves, if you can see in comparison with my big head. But this one, I don't know, this one hasn't done a whole lot since I've gotten it. And the leaves seem to be a little bit thinner on it. And it has some kind of like weird scarring on the back here. So I'm hoping that it doesn't have like flat mites or something. I may treat it just to be safe. But you can see how big those leaves are. It's so cool. And they're very round. Very round and shiny with that splash. And this one right here at the bottom has a pretty good splash on it for you to see. That one feels a little better. That is my Latifolia Sarawak. This is my Latifolia Snow Queen, and these are the version with like more of the silver splash on them. And this one had a really good splash, but when I got it, I don't know what I was thinking. I put it in this like brighter window that I had of some of my other Hoya in, and it burned. Like I just burned it. And so I had to cut off the portion of the leaf that just like totally like withered up. So this is what it looks like right now. You do still kind of see some of that splash on there. Come on. And it is growing. So we see we've got new growth right here. So I think she's doing just fine. But yeah, I'm really disappointed in myself that I just like burnt the crap out of her by sticking her straight in that window. I guess wherever she came from, like she was not getting that much of bright light, so they just really stressed her out and crisped up half of that leaf. But she's recovering, she's putting out new growth, so you know, it'll be fine. Everybody makes mistakes, right? This one is another one of my favorite ones. This is Hoya Pulchera. And this one I love because the leaves, again, are just like really, really dark. But the undersides are this really dark purpley color along with the stems. So this is what the tops of the leaves look like. That really dark green. But then that is the underside of the leaves. So that's like what I thought was really pretty. With a still that like lighter striking veining. So you get the really dark on the front. And dark on the back. And that one is just so pretty. And this is one that I got from Hoya Ho on Etsy. And she threw in like the cutest little name signs there. I just love those. So yeah, there's one more time the underside. Come on. And that one's growing a ton. So this one has like a ton of baby leaves coming out, but none of them have like, you know, really shot off and gotten any bigger yet, but we do have a lot of baby leaves. So this one, and a lot of these actually I'm looking forward to cutting up and rooting some propagations so I can make them like a little bit more bushy. Yeah, Hoya pulchera. This is Hoya SP Lampung Red. And this one, Sunstress, is like a really red color. Again, I just really love the dark veining on this one. And you can kind of see some of that like orangey red coming through. Especially that leaf, I really love that leaf. And this one, we are getting some new growth up there too. And this is one of the ones that came from Etsy as well. See a Hoya Lampung. I really don't know how to pronounce these. I'm struggling, y'all. Another one of my favorites, and I swear I'm not going to say that about every single Hoya that I have, but this is the Hoya AFF Lambii Splash. And this one, oh my gosh, I love this one. This one has like the really raised veining. Very dark color, and the splash is kind of like a tannish goldeny splash. But it goes like a little bit purple too when it sunstresses. And it was more of a purple color when I got it, but I don't have it in like ultra bright light. I just have it under grow lights. And then there is the other leaf. This one has like a really good splash on it. And this one has been really slow to do anything, but I do see right in the middle like a little nub where it's finally starting to grow. So that is a very exciting update for that one. This is Hoya Macrophylla biboa. And this one looks kind of similar to the Sarawak. It has that same like larger leaf shape. It has a splash, but this has kind of like this like interesting veining where on the outer edges it has this almost like striping of lighter veining or like a highlight or something on these leaves. So you can see, I think you can see it pretty well on this one, how it has these like a halo almost on the outside of this lighter color. And I just thought that looked so cool. That like along with the splash. That one has it really well. You can see it on that one pretty well too. And this one just looks like very, very similar to the Latifolia to me. It seems like the leaves are like a little bit smaller. But this one's growing a lot faster. Like it's got these like crazy long runners. And I just really like that halo of lighter, kind of like, I don't want to call it variegation. It's like a highlight, you know, like a little highlight on the edge there. Yeah, that's her super long runner that's going crazy. And yeah, she doesn't like any new leaves coming out yet. It has like the little nubs where the leaves may form. So we'll see. Maybe she, you know, she's just not ready. She's not ready yet. She has all these leaves down here, so she's like, I'm done enough. This is my little baby Hoya undulata. This is another one of those Hoya that's like a little bit crusty looking, but I just love how crazy and ripply the leaves are and how the splash is like really like that silvery, kind of like silvery purple. So you can see how crazy those leaves are. Like, look at it from the side. It's just like, it's a little bit of a mess, honestly, but I just really like it. It's got personality. And these, I've seen these get pretty large. This one's fairly small, I feel like, in terms of the undulata. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Undulata. And this one is just being really, really slow to do anything. Like, I can kind of see a little bit of like a raised nub on the like either side of where the stem was cut, but it's just, it hasn't done anything yet. So we'll see. Hopefully this one's in, I can't remember what substrate that is, but it's not like in any kind of mix. It's just like some kind of fiber, tree fern fiber maybe. So it shouldn't have a root rot. I think maybe it was just like so young. She'll come around. But yeah, so that one's a really fun one, especially when those leaves get like really big and like crazy and wavy all over the place. Those are awesome. That's what I hope for this one eventually. This is Hoya AH041. And this one, again, has like the big dark leaves, cool veining, splash. This came with one leaf, but you can see down in the, like in here, it's got a little nub here where a runner is trying to come out. So yeah, and then that is its leaf. Looking super cool and interesting. And a lot of these, like the backs, I'm just going to show the front. The back's not like super interesting. It's literally just the green. But this is another one with like very rigid, matte feeling leaves. Like the texture just feels really matte. And the splash is kind of like a minty blue green kind of. But yeah, I think I really like this one. This is kind of like a more subtle, kind of laid back Hoya. You know, it's not like in your face. It's not crazy. It's just a nice simple splash. So I'm excited for this one to not be a one leaf wonder anymore and to get some more leaves on this guy. This one looks kind of similar to the AH041 to me. This is the SP Sumatra. And again, no real new growth on this one yet. The leaves look very similar. The veining is a little bit more noticeable on this one, where it does have a little bit of a darker veining, but the splash is quite similar to me. So yeah, you can see what kind of Hoyas that I like. And I promised myself, like, to me, these still look different, but I promised myself that I would, like, not just buy a ton of Hoyas that all look exactly the same, even though I want them. I have to, like, remind myself, because I, like, black out when I'm looking at Hoyas. I'm like, oh, I love that one. And then I'm like, you have literally, like, 3 Hoyas that look exactly like this. And I, like, make myself go look at the ones that I have, and I'm like, you know what? I do have these that look exactly the same. So we're just going to wait, and we'll get one that looks a little bit different. But yeah, so Hoya SP Sumatra for this guy. Yeah, that veining is so pretty. This is another one that I see pretty often. This is the Hoya Carnosa. So the Carnosa is a very common type of Hoya, but it has lots of different like variation patterns and splash and stuff like that. This is Wilbur Graves. So this one, very pointy leaves. So it's kind of like rounded leaves, so they're very pointed, very dark with, it's more of like a shiny finish. So they're pretty shiny, and it's got a really good coverage of that splash. And I thought this one specifically was pretty cool because it looks like kind of like half the leaves are those like really splashy silvery, and then the other leaf is kind of like more chill. It's just like the standard green. And this one is growing, so I'm looking forward to having some leaves on him soon. Right there, you can see this little runner. And that leaf under there is really pretty. That one's got a lot of silver on it. This one is super dry. Oh, and it has a new leaf. I didn't even realize this one had put out a new leaf. This one is the Hoya RHM 14-1. And this one I'd showed this previously on like one of my unboxings or something. I really love this one. Like this one, the leaves are kind of like, they're very flat. Like they're very flat and neat. Splash is really good. Veining's really good. So it's like, you know, checks all the boxes like that I'm into. And then that is this thing is like, this vein is so like thick with leaves and heavy. This little cup is just like straggling along. Let me see if I can get this new leaf. So there's its new leaf. I just love how Hoyas are kind of like Anthurium, where it puts out this like little tiny leaf and it just expands to this like really big leaf. And then this is what, God, this thing's going crazy. What it looks like at the bottom. So you can see that cool splash. This one's kind of like semi-gloss, you know, it's like a little bit shiny, a little bit matte. But you can see like how flat the leaves are. Well, this looks like super cool. And you can also see kind of like the abs. It has those like, kind of like the veining gives it those abby ridges. That is just really cool. God, I'm struggling to control this guy. He is just like, there we go. That looks good. See it, we can see the abs, see the splash, see the new leaf. Yeah, I really love this one. This one's been no trouble other than like it just being like totally off balance and falling all over the place because it's like the weight is not evenly distributed, you know, so he's like just like wiggling everywhere. And these leaves, these bottom leaves are pretty large. You can see how big that one is in comparison to my hand. So this one gets pretty big. These I'm gonna do together because they're very similar. So this one is Incrasata Eclipse, and this one is Incrasata Albo. So the Eclipse has more of like, I really need to water this one. This is just a cutting that I have of the same plant, and they look pretty similar, so I'll just show this one. But this one, so you can see like the outer edges of this one, they are variegated, but they have kind of like this like splotchy green and yellow variegation. And oh, that's a new leaf. I literally did not see that new leaf right there. Because it was like camouflaged in that bigger leaf. But yeah, you can see that like on this one too. Like how the variegation here is just like really splotchy. It's not like that true white. This is so dry. I need to water this. And this is the Albo. So this one has that really bright white variegation on the outside. And we've got an all white leaf here, which again is really pretty on Hoyas because it lasts for a little while. And she's put out a really long runner, which is fun. And then that was her most recent leaf. So that one is mostly white, but we do have a little bit of green on there. And then these lower leaves, it looks like a little bit eclipsy on this one. How it has that kind of like mottled, splotchy variegation. But then that top part goes like to really, really white. So yeah, this one, Incrusata albo. And then the Eclipse that has more of like that mottled variegation. And these just have, again, like these have, especially the albo, like the leaves are really, really, really rigid on these. And I noticed too, like the Eclipse, I feel like the leaves are more like round, at least on the ones that I have. And then the albo, they're getting like a little bit more elongated here at the top. But yeah, I really like that. Like how it has so much of the white variegation on here. And a little white leaf here. Yeah, this is like, there's nothing like making one of these videos that makes you realize like how many of something you have. Like, it doesn't seem like that many when they're just like sitting in the greenhouse cabinet, you know, but then like you get them out and you're having to like talk about all of them. You're like, dang, I still have like, I literally have like a whole other tray that I've got to get through still. But I'm going to try not to spend too long on the rest of these. So this video isn't super long. This is Crassia petiolata Splash. And this one, this is really, really splashy. And this one has like more elongated leaves. But this is another one if you like that like super splashy look. And the dark veining. This one's really striking. And I got this one on Etsy, and I got like the last few that I talked about on Etsy also. And this one's got this really long runner. This one's growing, so I think this one's pretty healthy. And then that's its newest leaf. Oh, geez Louise. It's a little cute little leaf. But yeah, I like how this, again, this one like looks similar to some of the other ones that I have, but the leaves on this one are much longer. So these are like longer, sharper leaves. So at least it's a little bit different, you know, like it's not like exactly the same. This one is one that I got as like a free gift with one of my other orders on Etsy, but I didn't have, like I don't have any Bellas, even though like Hoya Bella is like one of the, it has a lot of different varieties, and it's really common. Like I would say like a lot of people have that one. And there are a lot of varieties that I really like, but this one was just given to me for free. And this is the, just like the standard version. It's like not variegated or anything, but it has these like cute little dainty leaves. So I feel like this one, once it gets bigger, like if you had a whole basket of this kind of like hanging down, I think that would be really pretty. But yeah, I love it. It's like tiny little dainty leaves that are really, they're really like long, like in comparison to their size, they're kind of like long and sharp and really dark. They have that kind of like a little bit of a fuzzy semi-gloss feeling to them. And it does have a new little runner coming out right there. If you can see that. I don't know if you can see it on camera. Maybe a little bit through the tag. Yeah, so that one's super cute. This one is another one that I really love. This one is the Coracia Silver. And this is one of like the thin leafed Hoyas. So this one, like the leaves are not very rigid. They're very like thin and flexible. They feel like more like a standard leaf that you would feel on like any other normal plant. But these, it's like to me this looks like the leaf itself is actually silver, and then it's like variegated with the darker color, just because of how prevalent that silver is on there. And it's just so pretty. Like especially this one when they get bigger and you have like a whole like strand of this. Just these like super silvery leaves with that dark. It's so pretty. And this one's putting out a lot of new little baby leaves here at the top. They look kind of funny when they're coming in. Like it looks like, I don't know, it looks like they have a little tail or something. Like little tadpoles. But they are very cute. And I mean, you can't, like that is just gorgeous. That very minty, silvery splash, and then the soft leaves. This is one that I've had for quite a while that I did get off of Etsy. And I don't know what's going on with this one. I feel like maybe I should check it for root rot. But I mean, I can see like some of the roots are like growing on top of the soil and it looks fine. But I guess I should still check it for root rot. It had this one, this is the Hoya Polynura Broguet. And this is another one, like there's, I'm still struggling with these fungus gnats. There's like the inner variegated, which is less common, the outer variegated, like the silver. There's like a lot of different versions of this one. But I like, it's called like the fish tail or the mermaid tail or something. And you can see how like the shape is here at the top. But when I got this one, like it had this one leaf that was yellowing down here and it's still like equally the same amount of yellow several months later. So I don't know. And it's not really like growing much, but the leaves have definitely gotten firmer. So maybe it has just been like working on its roots or something. Because the leaves definitely look better than they have. Like they were not nearly this firm for a while after I had gotten it. But that one leaf at the bottom is still kind of yellow. So I really don't know what to do with this one. I might leave it alone for like a little while longer and then go in and check it for root rot if like it's still not doing anything. But yeah, I love the, just the shape of the leaves, like that fish tail, mermaid tail shape. Like obviously that's really beautiful. And then this one's the one with like kind of like the silver splash, but it looks kind of interesting. It's kind of like a stripy, I don't know. It's got like a lot of veins, like really, really dense veining. And then just that kind of like subtle silver splash. It's just really pretty. And there's my little yellow leaf here at the bottom that I don't know what to do with. I'm just gonna leave it alone. Just gonna leave it alone. I really want to cut it off, but I don't think I should. So yeah, and I like the variegated ones as well, like the inner and outer variegated ones. The inner variegated is just really expensive still, and the outer variegated, that may be something that I get like a little bit later on. Once I figure out what's going on with this one. All right, this one is Hoya SP Gunyung Gating. And this one, again, this looks like kind of similar to the Callistophylla to me. This one, very, very rigid leaves. It does sun stress this like super, super red color. And just that like really dark, prominent veining. Yeah. This one's actually like, even the backs of the leaves are kind of like a dark reddish with like dark veining. So it's really interesting. This is like one of the more interesting looking ones to me. And you can see how red that one leaf is from sun stress. And then the backs, how they're this like really dark red purple. That's really pretty. The back of the leaves is almost prettier than the front to me. And I like how it like kind of like sun stresses, like how it's like sun stressed from the outside to the inside. So the outside's kind of like that reddish color and the inside's still green. And this one, like the veining on that one's not quite as prominent as this one. I feel like the veining is the most prominent on. And you can see how that kind of looks like the same veining as the Callistophylla to me. Definitely this one's leaves are much more rigid though. Okay, this one is Hoya AH0001. And this one, again, dark leaves, dark veining, prominent splash. This is another one of the ones, you know that what this looks like to me kind of like is the chicken farm. But the splash, I don't know, it looks a little bit different. Like I prefer this just a little bit over the chicken farm, but it has that kind of like same splash pattern. And I really like, it's kind of like that crusty look. You know, like it's just a little crusty. But I really like that. That's this other leaf. This one, the splash is like way better on that one. And then we've got a new leaf right there. And then a really, really tiny new leaf at the top, which you probably can barely see. But that one's cute. Can't really see like what the splash is gonna be like on that one yet because it's too little. But I'm hoping that it'll be more like that leaf. Because that one, if I can get this stem out of the way, geez. That one, that splash is just so cool. This is another one of my favorites. It really is one of my favorites though. The Archibaldiana Albomarginata. Not only is the foliage really beautiful on this one, but the blooms are just so cool. They have like really, really huge blooms. Like the flowers are just giant. But the leaves, oh my gosh, it has this like kind of like, I don't know how to describe this, like dusty silvery color over the dark green in the middle. And then of course like that outer variegation. And this one, I know this one came from Hoya because of this the little sign. But yeah, that is just so pretty. I cannot wait. There's another one. Cannot wait to see the blooms on this one. Those like giant juicy blooms, you know. I talked about this one being my favorite, I think. I think this one's one of my March favorites. But I'll probably say this is one of my favorite plants in general. I really hope this one starts growing soon. This one, like, again, it's got like those, you can kind of see like where the stem's been cut off. They get these kind of like lumpy bumps on either side of that where they're about to start growing. And I see those little like bumps, but it hasn't like put out anything yet. It just has those like little bumps. So hopefully before too long. It's going to be obviously like a while before I see this one bloom because it's not even growing yet. And then this is a really cool one. So this is the Hoya villosa. And I was kind of torn between this one and the globulosa, but I saw a seller had this one available, and I really like the super, like, look at how giant those leaves are. This is my head, like, that's a big leaf. And the leaves are just like, this is probably one of the one with the coolest leaves. Like, not only are they like super elongated, but the bottoms is like such a like soft, fuzzy, it's like, I don't know, like almost like felt or something. It's like such a soft, fuzzy feeling. And it has the dark leaves, dark veining. But again, like just like how long the leaves are and how they're so like glossy and shiny on the front. And then the back is like super matte and fuzzy. I wish that you could like feel this through the camera because it's just like so soft and fuzzy. So yeah, that is Hoya villosa. There is one Hoya globulosa as well that has like kind of like shorter, rounder leaves that's really cute too, and it has that same like fuzzy feel on the bottom. But this one particular with like the really long leaves I liked, and it is finally putting out some new growth right here. You can see a little like green right behind my finger here. Maybe you can, maybe you can't. You can kind of see it down here. Little green new growth. So I can't wait for some new. I'm gonna have to move this out of my greenhouse. That little Akbar IKEA cabinet before too long, because the leaves are just like so big, like a whole strand of these leaves, like that is just not gonna fit. This one is the Hoya Campanulata Splash. This is another one of like the soft leafed Hoyas, and this one kind of it's like a less, like the feel of it really reminds me of this like Cratia Silver. Like the feel of the leaves is very similar. They both have that like really thin leaf. But this one leaves are more elongated and it has more of a silver splash versus the entire leaf being silver. And I think I got this one from the CK Happy House. I really love her Hoyas. They're so pretty. But yeah, when this one grows some more and you get those really long strands of these like kind of long splashy leaves, that is just so gorgeous. And they have, it's almost like kind of like that galaxy look to it because it has like some larger splashy parts and then like kind of like freckles too. I just really like it a lot. And that is her leaf. So yeah, she is gorge and she is growing just a little bit. Just a little bitty bit right in the middle that you probably can't see, but we can appreciate her leaves for one more moment. Okay, so we have just got a few more to go. I had to take a quick lunch break because I was taking so long to film this because I was talking so much. So we're gonna try to really get through the rest of these without me being so long-winded. We just got a few more to go. This one is AH Black Magic. And this one is really cool just because the leaves are like really, really thick. So they just feel like really thick and waxy. And they're like this like, I don't know if it's because of the sun stress, but they sun stress this really, really, really dark, like kind of like a purpley black. Which is why I'm assuming it's called Black Magic. But these are the leaves. So you can see how they're much more like, they're kind of fat. They're more rounded and they're really thick. Much thicker than the other Hoya leaves, even the ones that are pretty rigid. And you can see a little bit of that, like how it's darker here and kind of lighter green towards the tip because it's not super sun stressed. It is really dark though. Like the green's pretty dark. And it's got those pronounced veins. A little bit of splash, not a whole lot of splash. There's that other leaf. But yeah, I guess like really dark plants in general, dark Hoya, dark whatever. And the veins are really cool on this one. I like it when the veins are kind of like stick out where you can feel them. I think it looks really interesting, like when the light catches them. But yes, this one is AH Black Magic. She's doing pretty well. She's got her, I didn't do anything forever. And then finally, like just within a matter of like a week, it put out this like giant runner. So I really can't wait for some more of these leaves. Like a lot of the Hoyas that I have are still kind of like in that 2-leaf, 3-leaf like cutting mode. Because I'm not like the most experienced with Hoyas. I think it's just like taking me a little bit longer to get them kind of like doing well. Although like just a few of them have had root rot. They are growing. So that does give me hope that like, you know, they'll get to it eventually. But they are still like just having a couple of leaves at this point. This one is another one of my favorites. This is Hoya, I don't know how to pronounce this. It's ACEH. Ace. Maybe it's just Ace. Bogar. And I like the ACEH plants are just, they look so cool. Like they're kind of that like old world, kind of like, this one looks kind of like prehistoric to me too. And it's again got that like really pronounced veining, like ridgy veining that you can feel. And this one grows really funny. So it grows like all clustered up like this. Isn't that weird? You can see like how the leaves are all like coming out stacked on top of each other. Although it does have on this side, it has a runner. Like inside of there, right here. So it is, maybe it's like in the mood to have a little bit more space now. But yeah, I think it's actually kind of cool like how they're like growing like that, because it's just funny how he's all like, he looks like a sandwich. And like this leaf in particular, like, you can see how big that leaf is. That's so cool looking. Just those really cool veiny splash. This one I got from Steve's Leaves. I really love them. I've gotten several Anthurium crosses from them as well. And they do like auctions and stuff too. And you can always like see a lot of their new uploads on their Instagram, which is, I like that to be able to like follow what's going on. But yeah, this is the one. They still have this one, I believe. This is another one from Steve's plural leaves. This one is Hoya rigidifolia. And this one is another one of the ones with like the really elongated leaves. These are kind of like skinnier leaves, and it's got these kind of like, I don't know, like concave veins where they like, it's called a rigidifolia, I guess that makes sense. But it's where they like kind of go like really deep into the leaf. And so this is kind of the growth pattern here, but you can see maybe, let me see if there's a good leaf I can show you. This one's pretty good. I don't know if the camera will really capture those like the ridges in the leaf, but when you feel it, you can really feel those like really deep. You can kind of see it there. But yeah, I just thought this was like a little bit different from a lot of the Hoya that I have, because it's like a lighter green. The leaves are like not as like fat and full, and it's so funny because it's like growing in this like loopy, I don't know why it's doing that. Is that just it? Maybe it just has a little it has a little flair, little personality going on that one. This one's normal, but that one's kind of curly. But yeah, this one's just kind of fun. Rigidifolia. And it's got like a little bit of a splash, not like a lot, just a little bit, just to spice it up a little bit. This is one of the ones that I had the cuttings of in that little like combo jar thing. This one I had rooting for a few weeks. It had a lot of roots, so I put it in soil, and two of the leaves look pretty good. One is yellowing, so I don't know if maybe just that leaf's gonna fall off, or if that whole kind of like cut will end up dying off. But the other two look okay, so we're gonna hope for the best. But this is CF Palawanica IML 1605. These Hoya names, y'all, are just like a lot of numbers in there, you know, a lot of numbers. Yeah, but this one, again, you know, this kind of reminds me of the last one, the Rigidifolia, how it has those like lighter long leaves. But I really like the blooms on this one too. This one has really pretty blooms. And then that's that one that's kind of yellowing. That is not too happy, so we'll see. And it's sad because that's the one that has this little shoot on it, so I don't know. These other ones look okay though. They were like really wrinkly before I put them in water to kind of like root on their own, and they're much firmer now, so that's a positive sign as well. This one is a really cool one. This is Hoya Gray Ghost, and this is another one of those like silvery, it looks kind of like the Wilbur Graves silver like type deal to me, but I just preferred this one for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe it's like the leaf shape is a little bit different, or like the darker portions are a little bit different. I don't know. This is just the one that I like. But this is what it looks like. And we do have a new leaf, like an actual leaf, not just a runner. right there in the middle that you can see. So that is exciting. It does look a little bit yellow, so I don't know if, again, this one's in pollen and it's not my medium of choice, so I've really got to get these swapped out before too long before I make a mistake, because I don't know what I'm doing. But yeah, you can see that really pretty silvery gray. And this one was definitely an Etsy purchase. Okay, we got 4 more, y'all. This one, I did another video where I was talking about how I had gotten this as a gift, and I cannot remember what I said I thought it was in that one, but I was like so far off because, again, like I'm not like the most experienced with Hoyas. I think this is just like a Carnosa Freckle Splash. I'm not 100% sure, but it definitely looks like a Carnosa to me. This is another just like, it's like a good standard, another Carnosa basic Hoya. Just like nice shiny dark round, if I can get it over here, nice shiny dark round leaves with a splash. And these are all the newer leaves here at the top. These are the leaves that it came with. So yeah, Freckles Splash, I believe. And this is Hoya Hai Phong. This one, honestly, it's like the most basic Hoya that I own. It like has no prominent veining, no splash, but it's kind of cool because it's just this like very even tone green. It has those shiny, really like ovally leaves. And it's just like such a pretty, like very clean looking Hoya to me. Like just that really nice medium green color. And the leaves are like that super, they're so thick and leathery and rigid. And this one's had that runner for a while, but no new leaves, so we'll see. Yeah, I think this is one of those plants, like if you want something that's just like very clean and aesthetically pleasing, like this is one of those plants to me. Next, this is another very on-brand Hoya for me with the dark leaves, really splashy. This one, the veining is not quite as prominent, but it has kind of like those matte, not fuzzy, but like just like a matte, like, it's not as like leathery feeling to me. And this is the Hoya SP Bahoy. Bahoyi. But wow, look at that splash. Like the splash on this one is so good. I'm literally getting dirt everywhere. Showing these to y'all. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be such a pain to clean. Yeah, but this one, and again, we've got a runner and it leaves. Again, very on brand. But yeah, I will say like the splash on this is definitely one of my favorites out of the collection. This one reminds me of the AH0001, like in terms of that like kind of like mottled splashy color, mottled splashy look. But yeah, I just really love this one. Like obviously I love all of these, that's why I keep saying that. Yeah, so the Bahoyi. And last one, I saved this giant one for last. This is my Hoya Vitilionoides. I'm gonna put this name in the description and y'all will see why I'm struggling with these. This one, I made a miscalculation when I purchased this one, and I got it because I liked, again, the veining. I did not realize how big this was. So when I got this, I was like, holy crap, like this is a freaking huge Hoya. I'm gonna take it out of this basket. Look at this leaf. That is a crazy leaf. Like I thought this was just gonna be like an average, like I was imagining this, and then this is what I got. I was like, oh my gosh. But yeah, so this is in comparison to my head. It's a big Hoya. And it's got a little bit of a splash on it. But again, like the veins are super cool. And it's put out some new leaves. They look pretty similar. Like one has, you can see it has that splash on one, and then the other one doesn't really have much of a splash. And then it's got a couple of new leaves coming out up here, right above my thumb. But yeah, this one, again, it's been really easy going. I don't have this one in one of the IKEA cabinets. I just have it kind of like sitting on top. And it doesn't get like the most light, but it does get, like I have a grow light over there, but it's not like the strongest grow light. But it doesn't seem to care. It's put out this huge thing, and like I would imagine this would take more energy to grow because of the size of these leaves. Yeah, but it's been easy going, super easy going. And this one I got from Cactus and Exotics on Etsy as well. Okay guys, that is the end. So that is all of my Hoyas that I have in my collection currently. It really escalated, I'm gonna tell you. Like, it did not take me long to really accumulate a lot of these, just because like I feel like once I overcame that hump of like thinking that they were weird and I decided that they were cool again, like I don't know what happened. I just like blacked out and now I have like 40 something Hoyas. But yeah, they're just really fun to grow. I feel like they're a great option if you don't have a ton of space and you want a plant that's kind of like more interesting. I would say, I mean, they're most of them for me have been pretty easy to take care of, but if you're kind of like wanting a plant that's not too complicated, but like pothos or just like, you know, they get kind of like out of control. They got a lot of runners, a lot of plants will take up a lot of space or require like more sunlight or whatever. Like these have been pretty easy going just like with grow lights for me. And again, they don't take up a ton of space and they're not like, which I mean, of course, like you could probably give them conditions where they just like start growing like crazy. But I feel like they're like a lot more controllable if you don't want a plant situation that's like really like messy and unorganized. Like I feel like you can like control Hoyas a lot easier and like trellis them and stuff like that. But they're definitely one of my favorite genus now. Like I would say Hoyas and Anthuriums are probably my favorite overall. But yeah, so hopefully this like gave you some ideas if you're getting into Hoyas or you already are into Hoyas and you saw some that you don't have or you didn't know about, you know, and now you can go and look them up. And I feel like I'm like enabling y'all to purchase more Hoyas because that's exactly what happens to me. It's like I'll go and I'll watch these videos and I'll be like, oh my gosh, like I've never seen that one before. I should go look that one up. And then it has like a really good deal on Etsy and I'm like, what's, you know, just one more, I'm just getting one plant. But then when you do that like 30 times, then you're in this situation. But anyways, so thank you guys for watching this video. I hope it did give you some options for new Hoyas if that's what you were looking for. And if you like this video and you're into like plant content or whatever, subscribe so we can hang out and do more plant stuff together. Thanks again for watching and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.